I'm not ready for snow yet, are you? Hello and welcome to Karen's Creative Cards on YouTube. I am Karen Hashik and I do love snow globes, but I decided I wanted my cards with the new Simon Snow Globes not to be full of snow. And they can be interactive too, right? So this is the set that I got from Spellbinders. It's Simon Hurley's Snow Globes. And of course it has all sorts of scenes that you can put in there and many different sentiments. And I made a merry and bright scene here that has no snow. I decided I could send this one to my sister in Arizona. She doesn't get any snow, but of course she does celebrate, and Santa still comes there. And look what happens when you push this button. The houses all light up. I use an easy light from Pear Blossom Press to light up all 3 houses on my night scene. Now, of course, all the details on this card and all the cards that I share in this video will be on my blog, and links to the blog post and product featured are in the description box. Okay, this cute interactive card has a little snow. I decided to paper piece some of the birds from this cool Fransformer birds set from Spellbinders on this snow globe card. So there are several birds. They have like 4 different face options, and you can put on legs or mittens, and it has all sorts of cute sayings. So I made this an interactive snow globe card, and this little birdie here dances on a wobble. Can you see that? They're very, very cute. Happy birthday. So this is for a special child who has a winter birthday. It's still autumn here. And I also received some gorgeous Serenade of Autumn vellum. So this is vellum with foil, and it has some flowers and some leaves. Just gorgeous. And then I got these gems, Serenade of Autumn gems. I don't know if you can see that, but each one of these beautiful colors has like gold mica in there. Very unique and pretty. And then I also got this layered sunflower stencil, and I'm going to use these products to make a shaker with the Simon Hurley Snow Globe, and I'm going to show you how to do that. This is a very large stencil. It fit in this big container here. But I decided to cut it down to make it just a little easier to work with. But that's an option. I remember the first time I saw Jennifer McGuire do that, and I'm like, I think I should do that. So I am taping the first section of this snowflower stencil down with Pixie Tape. There are some registration marks that you can mark, and that helps line up the other stencils. So I'm just going to use a pencil and mark those 2 registration points, and when I move it you'll see how easy it is to then line up the additional stencils. I'm using all Simon Hurley's inks to blend on here. I find that they blend beautifully, and I love his selection of colors. So I'm going to start with a light green, and of course you just come to the holes of the stencil in a circular motion. You can go both ways. I want this first layer to be pretty light, so I'm not using a lot of pressure. Then I'm going to take a later gator and a smaller blending brush, And I'm just going to add some darker green highlights in the inside of all of these leaves. So as you can see, the first layer is done, and it has the blended greens there. I'm just going to pick up a little of that green ink, make sure it doesn't transfer. And then I'm going to use the registration points there, the pencil, to start lining this up. So as you can see, there's certain areas that it becomes very clear that that is lined up well, and that was very easy to do. And then I'll mask off this one up here. And then I'm going to move on to Shooting Star from Simon Hurley. There are two sunflower pieces. I'm going to do one with a light hand and one with a heavier hand to get a little bit of shading in the sunflower itself. So the third one, it lines up very easily because in essence you're just putting it where the other ink isn't, if that makes sense. So as you can see, I'm moving it so I really can't see the green, and I can't see the other yellow that I did. This one's got to go over just a little. Now I'm making a 5x7 card, so this piece is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. Of course you could make it whatever size you wanted to, but I want to get a shaker out of the snow globe on this too. So this is like a background, but a pretty cheerful sunflower with no snow. I want these to be darker. I'm going in circular motions both ways to get good ink in there. Okay, we're going to move on to the lines on the flower, and I'm going to use Slippery While Wet from Simon Hurley. This one again lines up very, very easily. You're basically looking at that center and lining that up, and then everything else will line up very easily. And I just want to mask off the other areas. I seem to have lost one of my pieces, so I will tear another. I just want to make sure I don't get ink where it doesn't belong. There's a hair there bothering me. I'll move it. So I can't color. I don't know about you, but if I had to color these sunflowers from scratch, it would not look good. But I can do layering stencils, and anybody can. They're very, very easy to use, especially when you have those registration points. I tore it a little bit there, but I will make sure my globe covers that up. The Pixie Tape is pretty easy to remove, but once in a while you might tear it just a little bit. Okay, there's just a couple more. This one again, you're going to line up the holes, and then we're doing a little bit in the hole, and we're also adding a little bit of highlights to the green. It's not really a hole, but it's a hole in the stencil, and it's the center of the sunflowers. And then just some highlights on the leaves. And now just the center of the flowers. Now I'm using Grr from Simon Hurley. It's a lighter brown with a light hand. And the sunflowers are done. You can see how easy that was. I am going to erase the registration marks. Now, I'm not a big fan of white space. I tried spattering just to add a little bit extra to this, and I ruined a perfectly good set of sunflowers. I don't like the lack of control. So I'm just going to add a little more color with this large Diamond Dots stencil, which is also from Spellbinders. And I'm just going to add some green with a light hand, but just to add just a little bit of texture without raising it at all to some of the background there. Of course, I could go as dark or as light as I want, but I just really want just a little bit. And much of this bottom here is going to be covered up with the snow globe, and it's not a snow globe. It's going to be a shaker. No snow allowed yet. Although it is October, and by the end of October, sometimes in Wisconsin, we do have a little bit of snow. So our background piece is complete with those beautiful snow sunflowers and a little bit of extra texture there. Now we're going to make the globe. So I have cut out of that die set one of the circles, and then I used an older Spellbinders die and created a frame. Then I've cut out one of those pieces with that gorgeous foiled vellum that you can of course see through, but it's very much more interesting than just a regular piece of acetate or vellum. I've also cut out a piece of acetate because that's going to go behind it, and then this is going to be the bottom. So the first thing I'm going to do is add some skinny score tape around this frame to attach the vellum to. And I'm just going to just turn it and direct it to stay on this frame, which I cut out of some gold mirror card that has some texture to it. And then I'm going to carefully lay the vellum piece on that. It was cut out to be exactly the same size, so some of it does show right around the edge. I'm just going to quickly trim that off. That should be good. Now I'm going to build up a well using this, and my favorite thing to use for that is skinny adhesive strips. This one happens to be from Cubies, which is Barely Arts product, and you can get a whole big package of both the strips and the squares in different heights. So that's a great thing to have in your stash. And these are just a little taller than many of the other adhesive strips, so they're perfect for making shakers, and they do bend. So once again, I'm just going to carefully put this around the edge so it doesn't show, but it's going to easily create a shaker rather than having to do like a whole bunch of layers of the die cut or something. This is much, much easier. As you can see how fast that was. Now I'm just going to use my EK Success powder tool to add a little powder to the vellum, and then while I got it out, I'm going to do the acetate as well so it doesn't stick to the acetate. One of my favorite things to use in shaker cards are the Ceya crushed broken glass. I just think they are just beautiful. I'm using the bronze color today. So much more interesting, I think, than like sequins or something. So can you see how beautiful that is? We don't need a lot, but and then I'm going to carefully remove the cover on this. And take my acetate and carefully attach that. And of course, when you cut things out with the exact same die, sometimes a tiny bit of it will show on the outside. And if that's the case, again, I can simply trim it away. And I'm just left with a easily made, beautiful shaker. So I am going to take the piece I made and attach that to our 5x7 card base. I'm really liking the My Sweet Petunia glue press. I like to use glue, especially when adding a piece like this, so I get even borders and you have a little time to maneuver. And I did have an issue sometimes with my wrist not being strong enough to get the glue out, or the needle getting stuck or whatever. So I'm really liking that new product from My Sweet Petunia. So this is going to be attached, and you'll kind of see the sunflowers through it towards the bottom. And I think I'm going to use that skinny score tape again because it's a see-through. So figure out about where I want to place that. This is going to be there, and this is going to be tucked under a little bit. So about there. This also needs to be raised, and I think I'm going to use the even taller strips from that Cubie pack from Barely Art to get it up just a little higher than the globe. Sometimes getting the top off of adhesive strips and score tape and other tapes is the hardest part, right? Then we have some gorgeous Serenade of Autumn gems that I got from Spellbinders as well as part of this package. And I am just fascinated. I don't know if you can see that, but each one of these beautiful colors has like gold specks in them. And I love sets where you get small, medium, and large. It gives you so many options. So I'm going to do a little bit of decorating with these. I think I'm going to start with one. I think I'm going to go right here. Get it off my knife. And then I'm going to make a line with them, but so that they evenly space. I know that I want to get and then in between here I'll put a couple colors. 4 beautiful colors and 3 different sizes. So versatile. And then the aqua. Come on. And then one more of the large peach. Then I think I might put a couple on the vellum itself. So let's use small ones for that. Just direct your eyes around the shaker part there. So a set of 3 in somewhat of a triangle. So isn't that beautiful? I love the sunflowers in the background, the snow globe made into a shaker with that gorgeous vellum and gems. This card would be perfect for many occasions. I'm going to wait for us to put a sentiment on until I decide which special person is going to get it. The next card I make with these Simon Hurley Snow Globes will probably be made with a lot of snow, but as you can see, it can be used in many other ways too. I hope my cards inspire you to see what you can make and with these and their other products too.